Yeah. Important mess. Okay, wait, what happened? Oh yeah. We're like, we want to be a lawyer, and we'll prove it. And so we're proving it by defending a man who's been accused of murder. And we know nothing about him or what happened. So I guess it's a learn as we go, but dire consequences. Kind of unfair, but whatever. It's an Ace Attorney game. I do have a bunch of knickknacks around here too. Whatever. One day. Okay. Oh, thank goodness we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said that the defendant should be here. But there's no sign of him at all. We are not the defendant, is it? So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam, sir. Oh. What are yous doing following me here? Things are very desperate, are they? Sorry? Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the east, are yous? This is Jacksepticeye. We're from Japan, yes? Ah, Japan is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do yous need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. 'Tis grand, 'tis grand. Let me start by giving yous 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mrs. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? I don't know what that is, currency-wise. 'Tis nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Like a guinea pig. Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. I think he's a con man. Ah! That hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. What kind of accent is this man trying to do? Something. Oh? To be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me, good self here. I'll be in the dock. Oh, we're defending this guy. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'll be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. The Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Luster and blazes, do yous not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry. We've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park there in the center of London is another beautiful park. Sorry? A park? What? 'Tis called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London? A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. Is that supposed to be queer, but spelled weird? That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. But now they've galled to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask ya? Ha, ha, ha. Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? Egypt! I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This Chancellor of a fellow claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? That's true. Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, not at all. Although, it is a little strange, to be honest. Why, you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Hello? Sorry? Did he just say Reaper? Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Baroque Van Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? That tracks. When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Baroque Van Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel, that would be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here. I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance, a student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo. The man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Cosmo would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. Make me wish Sherlock Holmes was here. God. It's happening then. My first trial in the British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. He might be around. Look at the fire textures. So this is the highest court in Great Britain. The Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court of Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, what? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. Oh my god, that's a vampire. That's a vampire. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Check how old he is? Hold on. I haven't formally met him yet. Magnus is 48 though. He looks older. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. And look at how he's holding his fucking cape. Counsel for defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. He asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. Hello? They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh, a cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Judge is not gonna say anything about that. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? Ugh. As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young, even if the fellow's a student from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers of yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? It's not. I like to take that act of chivalry to do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Ha ha ha! 5,000 pounds to the government! It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ha! Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. Okay. Let me drink some of this. I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these bits for my grandson. Christmas jokes? Because the judge looks like Santa. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, those people are the jury. Yes, that's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. Now, how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. Prosecutor Van Zeeks, my lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounce your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So, what brings you back? Is there some change or circumstance of which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think? A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. You must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks, known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. What a shitty nickname. Sorry, Thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. Oh shit. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service of the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but the face is partly obscured from view by a hat. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. It's 7:30 for me. And these are... Good lord! Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord, seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilde's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. There's a blood stain on the right. Okay. How did I get into this? I'm backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2. Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstances, to say the least. Oh, now I can check how old he is. Come on. 32! Mason's 54. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. Omnibus? Omnibus. I only think omnibus is the fucking thing that holds all the volumes of something, right? That's what I think of when I see omnibus. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I've taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. Littleton, so it is, and when I opened my eyes again. 'Twas a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I've never laid eyes on before in me life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. I thought it was just the 2 of them in the fucking bus. Ordar! 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 When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And they were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. He has a little scar on his face. Oh my gosh! Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. I, make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir, that's right, sir. I forgot what voices I gave them. Very well then, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Alright, let's go. Are they all doing it at the same time? Hold on. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him! I screamed, I did, I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too! What'd you see? Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of a moving carriage. Windows, maybe? How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. You're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. Don't say that! Say as less about yourself as possible. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? The actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff? Bring forth the stricken omnibus. That's cute looking. But that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. How could they see it from— hold on. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there's a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, a skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. Ugh, that makes perfect sense. Well, Counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced a crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. So true. Maybe that's why they sit in the bottom. But what if you wanted to see the sights? Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. 8-seater. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with proceedings then. Your cross-examination, Counsel. Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. I guess I'll just press on... Okay, hold on. Let's see what we have. Oh, an armband I inherited from Kazuma! I'm looking through my inventory and I see this. Can I examine it? These are the scales of justice. They're a symbol of the defense, aren't they? Yes, that's right. The scales are a symbol of fairness, to show that all are treated equally in the eyes of the law. And they're a warning to those who enter the courtroom without an impartial mind. But if they're the mark of the defense, it would be more auspicious if they were weighing more heavily on the not guilty side, I think. Very impartial, I'm sure. The lawyer's name is embroidered on the inside here. Look. Kazuma Asogi. This was his band, of course. He had his heart set on this study tour in Great Britain. I'm sure he would have found the truth he longed for here. He lost his life before he even had the chance to see the place. I have such a strong sense of his hopes and dreams when I look at this armband, though. Okay, okay. I don't think there's anything else here. Time and cause, 10 to 11, 15th of February. Stabbed once in the abdomen while journeying on omnibus, died due to internal hemorrhaging. Okay. He's missing a button, I see. Also, hold on. I want to see the photos of the people again. Oops. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. McGilded right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. Ha, pity. If only he'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Yeah, but that would help us. I just wanted to look at it. God. Look at this whole thing. It says Phoenix Wright Omnibus! Can we look inside? Okay, let's hear the testimony. Next to each other inside the bus? So not even across? Just next to each other?
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight and the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Wow, this could be anyone. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. That does not look like McGilded on the left. I don't know about you. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There is no room for doubt here. Ugh, I really wish there was. Okay, nothing there. The accusers for each other.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Or fair dinkum, hardworking city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? No. Not now, not ever. I'm trying to see if they're reacting. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. I really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord. Juror number 3. What's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. Also true. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. This is more racism. What the? We barely started and you're already giving your verdict? There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That's precisely what I was about to say. Hello? We've barely started. As a foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. What is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Ugh, now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. I don't know if they're all in on it. I screamed, I couldn't help it.
Hold it!
He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. Ah, that didn't help me at all. What? The jury looked like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. It appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First? Oh, yes, sir. Checking. Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that? Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Ugh, please no. Oh, wait. People? Beppo. Lady First is just 21. Beppo's 62. Yeah. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes. Like in Mason.
Objection!
Oh, that's true. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Ugh. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. Maybe it was a gift. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Juror number 2. Go on. Mr. McGillett is a pillar of society and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. Insane. No, I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. No way! No. I've painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who propose a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. You've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Shoot. Hold on. So the driver's sitting up here. How could he see it? If he looked back, maybe? Because it looked like you would only see the wall. Directly here. I think that's sussy.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor he was. Collapsed on the floor? And by the passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger that had that knife in his hand, like this. By the other passenger, obviously you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What? Can I present something? Ordar, ordar! It is hard to believe of one of London's greatest philanthropists, but this is damning indeed. The law knows no philanthropist, my lord, only the innocent. Good deeds mean nothing when overshadowed by evil. The truth is everything. Couldn't agree more, sir, the truth. Alright, so when it happened, the only two people in the closed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Ugh. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Yes! Or could it be? Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand this case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those with... Okay, yeah. I got it. Do I present the picture now or while he's talking? I wasn't...
Objection!
Let's just consider the implications of that statement for a moment, shall we? What implications, counsel? Nothing strikes me about it. Exactly. There's... Oh, no! Oh my god. You would have guessed the omnibus? Oops! I didn't mean to do that. Shit. I wish they included the rest of the things that they said also for a complete testimony.
Objection!
There's clearly something odd about that last statement made by the witness. There's clearly something odd here indeed. Your behavior, counsel. Oh, haha, please, don't mind me. That would be significant. Oh my god! I guess I press him again. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Okay, what's the first thing that they said? It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. This is the only thing I didn't press him about. I don't know. Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes. Ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time. Is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling the same parts of the bus, of course, though. No. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that, no. None. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then? I have to say, the boss insists on it running, he does, every evening. The last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spent up much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. I just can't believe it, sir. Can't believe it. A murder on my own bus. It's too awful to think about. I haven't been able to shake this cold ever since it happened. My lord. Oh, fuck. Answered the London Guild of Coachmen. The idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. I hate you. I hate you. But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. No, please. Just keep an open mind a little long. Gee up now, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Beppo's a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. Ugh. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means that 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear. What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh, yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day, and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. Amazing, wonderful things. God, I want to suck his dick. Ah, he's so rich. Yeah. He also has a public library named after him. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man is he? The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Why are we looking into this? We're looking into the murder. Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. I don't know what that means. What? Stone the crows. McGilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest so his victims have no hope of repaying him. Oh no, he's a loan shark! When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? Oh shit. What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that the victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing in his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come to know as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious. The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it. If I might add something briefly, Miss Susato. You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded, but where is the evidence to support your claim? Y'all have just wine out here? Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. Aha, there it is! Lord Van Zeek's hallowed chalice! How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. So true. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Gross. As judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. Marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. I don't have it on me. They just brought it up when the witnesses were talking. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owned a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. No! Still... maybe it's all for the best. Hold on. Can I look at it? This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder... I assure you we will not find Mr. Sholmes' name inside. Well, let's see what we find. I can't read. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this! Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information. Okay. Nothing to say? Is that the same thing? Okay. I guess that's it. The banker has something to say. Ah, wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before... I don't stand for nonsense. That was it. The last juror's decision. According to this encyclopedia of British law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense... All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. Yeah, I know. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial. By delivering my final verdict, I trust there are no objections. Of course I object! Ryunosuke, object! Mrs. Sato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... What did it say next? Oh yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. And the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. I gotta stall. Ask for it. Summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is it, Mrs. Sato? This so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment, and I'll read about it. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails. Typical Nipponese. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Except me. Still... I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? A summation examination, our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Yeah, assert our right. Come on now. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. Oh my god, I don't know. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Okay, good. We can hear their fucking reasons and tell them they're wrong. Whoa, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold with all this justifying, Lark. It seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Good, we're all new to this then. Alright then, the summation examination? A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for, to turn this trial around. So be it then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilded, guilty of his most serious crime. Jurors' contentions. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I've simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn a logical conclusion. What? You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. Wait. 4, 8, 12, 16? He would get 16 pence because there's 4 people. Am I doing my math right? If it's 20 pence, it'd be 5 people. The scoundrel stabbing the poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. God, y'all are just wrong. You're wrong. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Fortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched it may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work, then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in this courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. Okay, I found one already. In a way then, This is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Yeah, the jury is randomly selected. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. Pull this one off. I have to pull this off. Oh. Wait, what am I saying? Can we stop proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Oh, he's coming up. With his sword. There's no one else inside the carriage. No. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Pit? Pit with this guy.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. They do. Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swear on Silver Blaze's mane and name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That it is a fair and convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, man, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each, if we do the multiplication. Ah! It would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare. 1 person's fare. Yes, in other words, on the omnibus at night. It's distinctly possible. There was another passenger we've heard nothing about. Good gracious! Whisper, whisper. This can't be right. Coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword. The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I beg your pardon. Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Yeah, I know. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, Oh, I know. Change your choice. Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side off the set of scales. Now hold your horses there, coachman. You are all in agreement. Why do you have to go and wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo? Ugh, this is all very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same. Hell yeah! We have 2 chances now. For the love of Mike, not you as well. A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Oh, really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. You did it! We can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds. We can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. There is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Then that's where you must strike next. She is reading my mind. I'm literally thinking this. So I need to pit 2 more jurors. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah, I am thinking this, and she just answered me. Pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction. Exactly. You can do it. We're not just doing anything about it. Okay. Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination. I don't know what other... Changing my leaning to innocent, I should like to hear what the slipshod bookkeeper has to say for themselves. Okay. I like this. Brazen. Just simply typing calling all the statements say this one's on confusion. Scoundrel stabbing the poor man on the floor, it beggars belief. Oh wait. Stabbed on the floor and then stabbing on the side? That's a contradiction, right? Yeah.
Objection!
Those 2 statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain, counsel. Post haste. Oh dearie me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. What? Can't you see I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ha! Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. Just like the prim banker said. Yeah, so was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true. Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do you for, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it. It was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. There we go. There we go. Now don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What? Bless my stitches, what a muddle. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh, but why? Why the dickens would they lie? Come on now. I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. Yeah, I think we were just thinking way ahead. I can't abide people telling lies. Boop. The scales. I don't believe it. Hold it. Wait. Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. What? I'm just pointing out the discrepancies. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. He did pull the race card. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus. And this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, Whew, Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you. Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you. Ugh, they're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? No! It's out of the question! Yeah? I am second guessing myself. Yeah, because he's sitting on the fucking chair! Okay. It's out of the question. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, you dark jinx? Come on, out with it. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What are you talking about, man? Oops, I skipped. How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. You called me a dark jinx. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof. It looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime, as proven by... Hold on. Is there a blood stain on the floor? No! If he was stabbed on the floor, there will be blood! So I printed this one, right? Yeah.
Take that!
This clear piece of evidence. Well, Mr. Foreman? The picture? Ah, shit. Do I need to... Okay, hold on. I presented the omnibus. It has to be the picture of the corpse. Hold on, I'm gonna see what they say about this. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. Oh, we can get inside. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's obviously... Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Did you really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Really? Okay. Okay, it really seems like it's a picture then.
Take that!
No, it's wrong. What? Hold on. Hold the fuck on. Oh, single stab wound? The autopsy report?
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. Eh? Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. This is fucking stupid. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. You've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won! Hell yeah. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Ew! Why is he doing that? Don't like it. I'm uncomfortable. Please tell me he's a Varver. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate. And the trial must continue. Yeah, he's still looking it. I hate it. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. Hell yeah. So, Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Oh! Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks! Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. He broke his little chalice. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Now they won't like him. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Whoa! Bring forth the witnesses once more. Cape down. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, on the end. The coachman. I believe it's Beppo. Yes, sir. My lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a 5th passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Oh mio Dio, Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. Alright, give it to me. This man looks angry. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it. But, well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fiddled us on the fair, he did, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Buffalo Spring scene? No, it's Bruce Fairplay. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cozenage. Beppo, explain yourself. I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. Fuck. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. No, that figures. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. You've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. We're passengers, but, you seem to... seemed like you wanted to say something more. I'm gonna press him.
Hold it!
So, there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them the standard 4 pence fare. Is that right? It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. Yeah, stream was okay. I didn't drop any frames. It was so cold, it was all I could do to stop myself passing out. Getting chilblains just listening to you. It was terrible, so I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. Only there had been a 5th passenger in the omnibus that night. It's, Bruce Fairplay. Close. They would have had another suspect. Yeah, that's pressing. 5 pence for the bus.
Hold it!
Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir. And I just told you that I did. A flat fare of 5 pence across the board. It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead, and buried. I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place. Killed us on the ferry did, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight? You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir. A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken. Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. Hello? Good gracious, really? We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw the horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. No reactions. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating. Telling us on the gilded stabbing that man. Everything else before stands.
Hold it!
So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him. That's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before. This was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. What I miss? Oh, so much. Anyway, there was only the two of them inside a carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet, zero evidence. Then what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. The man's guilty. Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I wish I could work out what it was. Do we need to present something? Hold on. It says before stands. Okay, wait. Let me press this first.
Hold it!
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice-pick grip. I suppose. I might have, you know, yes. Put the cart before the horse, maybe. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Then I turned around. Yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was a famous man, yes. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I? Oh, hello? Pursue?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? A. Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Some days are like that. Some days you just see someone stabbing someone. That's so funny. No chance. Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Oh no, they tell us their explanation as to why they think the person's guilty. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on the top of an omnibus, that is. Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. They say the reasoning after they vote. Because we can request, like, examination of their decision or something. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Alright, tell me. You forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after the butcher stabbed a man? Blood-soaked hands? Hands or gloves? Should I show the gloves or just I'll press it? Blood-soaked. Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. And you saw that from the roof, through the skylight. Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on inside the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw. This banker's latest statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. You feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo? That's when you should have a good look through the court record. Alright, let me looking at it. Trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow we've managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. If you're not careful when you press these witnesses, the danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful, as they did before. I know I only have one chance left. Maybe, but we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. Yes, you're so right. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting... Okay, I know how to do this! So should I present the gloves now? Okay, both hands. Hands. Multiple hand.
Objection!
Blood-soaked. Hands? Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Arrgh! Ew! Don't do that. Sir? Surprised there's any blood? Well, I think he tried to take the knife out of the guy or something. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Yeah, but no, that can't be right. So you're the liar here then. Grrr. That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said, it was both hands. Grrr. Is he a chipmunk? I think so. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed. But is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one. But the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
Are you talking about... Hold on. Lady first. Diagnosed trans. No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. You think so because of the hat? Why? Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. Claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. I have evidence. My lord. Yes, counsel. The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. Evidence that demonstrates the motive for the witness's alleged deception at the court. Blah 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 blah. Beep 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 beep. Can I save? Wait. Just in case. I should have been saving before making decisions.
Take that!
I know. This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No. Well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist. Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claim in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw, in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Munch munch. Chomp chomp. Ordar, ordar, ordar! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. I think he's getting more confident. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. Does he have something to say? I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What? It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all of you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yargs. Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. What the witnesses really saw.